Do you see on rest stream? It has started showing over here. And we should go live on YouTube in another minute, I think. No, we're already live. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to hand over to Ranjit first so that she can initiate the conversation and then we can take this forward from there. Good to see all of you. I hope you've had an interesting learning experience yesterday and today as well. Ranjit, if you can take this over.
Thank you so much, sir. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ranjit, your host for today's session. And I'm thrilled to welcome you to day 2 of the ICHA's 13th anniversary summit. And it's a wonderful to see so many eager minds to learn and grow. Thank you so much and welcome. For those who have just joined us, so here's a very quick introduction to ICHA's, the Institute of Clinical Hypnosis and Related Science. We are a community passionate about advancing clinical hypnosis and elite therapies, empowering mental health professionals to make a real difference. Today's theme is the perfect focus to help you boost your impact and income as a confident mental health professional. And now, I think it's okay. So the timing is already 10:01. We will wait just one more minute and then we can start with our very first session. And the first session is very much interesting. The topic is becoming a confident mental health professional. So we can start in a minute or so because it's 10:01. Let's wait for some more people to join in. Yeah.
Sure. And meanwhile, all of you have joined in. Please share your experience of the summit yesterday. What were the key things that you learned? How was the experience? If there's any feedback on what we can do differently, please put it in the chat box so that we can also check that up. And if you have any questions about the session we are going to start right now, which is about becoming a confident mental health practitioner. Any questions that you have that you want me to address while we go along, please put it in the chat box.
And also, it's just a reminder for all the people that the link for the sessions will be shared in the chat box. Kindly, please make sure that you fill it up so that you can get your e-certifications as well.
Okay. So while we wait for everyone else to join in, who all are there? Mehak, Disha, both of you, thank you once again, along with Ranjit, for hosting this session, for taking care of all the background work, because I have been in a workshop and I've had little time to be able to focus on this, where it is because of the three of you, along with Arbina, Shubham, and all the other mentors in the mentorship group for ICHAS who have taken the different sessions, that we have been able to organize this summit so quickly. Today is exactly 13 years when we started ICHAS, so it's officially today ICHAS anniversary. 13 years back when we started, we did not start ICHAS as just a training institute. And I'm very happy that in the last 13 years, we have been true to the vision that we had about ICHAS, It has literally become a community, a family, a place where we all get together, we interact, we learn. And it's not just that we as institutes are imparting training and knowledge and learning to other people. You'd be surprised how much we end up learning by engaging and interacting with all of you. So thank you once again.
That was so kind of you. Thank you so much, sir. And I think it's already 10:04, and we can begin our very first session. And as I told you, the first session is very much interesting. And the topic is becoming a confident mental health professional. This session will share the practical strategies and mindset tools to help you build authentic confidence, essential for thriving in your career. So, our speaker is none other than Mr. Nitin Shah himself, founder of ITARS and an expert in clinical hypnosis and mental health training. Knowing for his engaging and insightful approaches, Nitin sir is here to guide us through these empowering sessions. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ranjit, for inviting me, for having me with you, for hosting this session, and for planning all of these wonderful talks and sessions that you guys have planned for this particular summit. I'm here. We can get started with the session. You can ask the questions that you have, and let's see how it goes.
Thank you so much for sir for giving this opportunity to me. So let's start. So we can start with the foundation of the confidence. So, sir, I would like to know from you that what does it really means to be a confident mental health professional, and how is this different from simply being experienced or knowledgeable?
So first, let's look at what does confident mental health professional means. In my understanding, a confident mental health professional is someone who understands that they have the ability and the skill to help clients achieve the outcomes that they need to achieve. And in situations where they don't have the skills, because there'll always be a possibility where a client comes, requires certain support or assistance that you are not skilled to provide. For example, someone may require psychiatric medication and you're not a psychiatrist. So confidence would also mean having the the ability to recognize that if I can't help the client, there are others who can, and I can refer those clients to other people without worrying about whether people will come back to you, whether they will be clients, how would the client feel, because the client's interest takes paramount focus as compared to anything else that you're getting out of these sessions. So for me, this would be the ideal definition of confidence. Know what you can do with clients, be able to help clients effectively at every stage, even when you don't know what to do next. You realize that the client has the ability to take the session forward, and you have the ability to facilitate that movement that the client needs to make. And eventually, that places where you need to refer someone to other people, that you're confident enough to also refer them to other people.
Wonderful. That was a very wonderful explanation. And why is confidence not just important for us as therapists, but also for the clients we work with? Because how does it affect the therapeutic relationship and the client outcomes together?
So consider this. You are going to a client. Let's reverse the process. Rather than you being a therapist or a psychologist, let's say you are a client. You go to a therapist, and when you speak to the therapist, your first instinct is they are not sure of themselves. They don't know what they're doing. Plus, when they don't know what they're doing, they're not even upfront. They are just trying to gumify me to make me believe that they know what they're doing. Right? Or even worse, where you've already researched on the different types of interventions available, you have an inclination that probably I need psychiatric medication. You go to a psychologist, and the psychologist says, you can work with me and only I can help you address your problems without working with a psychiatrist. Now, what happens? In each of these cases, the client feels, you know what, my therapist is not being genuine to me. They don't think my interest is the most important thing in the sequence of things in session. Let's assume they feel that you're confident, that at least you're able to present your side effectively, but you're still not able to answer the questions that they have. Let's say how many sessions will be required, how would we measure the effectiveness of sessions? If you're not able to provide concrete answers for this, then again, what does the client feel? That they want me to work with them, but they don't really know how would we measure the effectiveness. Do they really know what they are doing? Now, all of this creates doubts in the mind of clients. What they end up doing is they go on a, we have window shopping. So, as such, clients end up going on therapist shopping. They're interacting with one therapist and another therapist and another therapist till they eventually find someone that they feel that they can resonate with, that they feel is confident enough to help me address my challenges. So, one challenge that you face is that you will end up losing clients if you don't have confidence, right? Second, even when you work with clients, if you don't have the confidence, if you're unsure about your own abilities, then you will be constantly second guessing yourself. Many times people start feeling like an imposter, which then means even if clients are getting good results, you are actually creating a problem with your own emotional mental health going forward. So that's another challenge that creeps up. So, and obviously, this is almost commonsensical that a practitioner who's confident about what they're doing is better than a practitioner who constantly self doubts and second guesses themselves.
Thank you so much for putting in that particular word of imposter. My next question was, many of us felt like imposter to some at some point, basically. So why do we think like imposter syndrome is so common in the mental health field, and how we can navigate it?
So let's define what is an imposter first. An imposter is someone who is posing to be someone else or is posing to be someone better than who they are. Why this is common in the mental health field? Primarily because, sadly, your master's education does not actually prepare you to work with clients. So you end up getting a lot of conceptual theoretical knowledge. You feel confident that I know my subject. But when you start working with the clients, all of a sudden you realize what I've learned in the class is actually not how therapy works. And we were not prepared for that therapy session with the client. Now, when that happens, the feeling that I'm an imposter is, is actually almost correct because I am trying to treat people or I'm trying to help people address their challenges without actually having the skills to help them address those challenges. So, the first step is to be able to develop the required skills. Again, like I said, ideally, your master's program should have prepared you with all the conceptual and practical skills both. But we don't live in an ideal world. That is where your investment in yourself, in your skill building comes into play. That is where you need to search for courses that will actually help you develop practical skills, will help you work under supervision, will provide you with a support system where you can go back and interact with your trainers to be able to check whether you're on the right track or not. Right? So, first reason is lack of skills itself. Second, sometimes you may have the skills, you've gone through certain training programs, but the training programs or your master's program does not have the feature to provide you with ongoing support. So I learned a technique in the course. I was in a safe environment. My trainer was there. All of the people that I was practicing were co-participants. They were all learning. So we could learn from each other's mistake. Now, when I'm with a client, I don't have that safety net. And if I don't have someone that I can go back and cross check with, that all right, this is what I did, was this okay? Should have I done this differently? What would have been a better way of doing it? So if you don't have that mentor, that supervisor who is able to help you, then that feeling is a lingering feeling because you have no way of cross checking whether what you've done is right or wrong. And you may actually have done a perfect session, but because there is no way of cross checking it, verifying it, that feeling can become more intense and more prominent. Third, it could simply be an issue of confidence. I have the skills, I'm working with the clients, I've got enough evidence that my clients are getting results, but I just lack the confidence, right? Now, if that is the case, if your clients come to you because they lack confidence and you're able to help them develop confidence, which means therapy is a powerful tool to help people develop confidence. So then I am not sure why wouldn't you visit a therapist and help yourself with the expertise of another person who can help you develop that confidence. Second, in my personal opinion, a major part of this should be covered as a part of your training programs itself. See, When I ask people about what kind of training program they've gone through, they will discuss about the training program, they'll talk about the techniques they've learned, and then I'll ask them, how did you practice these techniques in the class? And they would say, we would do role plays. We will take up hypothetical cases. Why are we taking hypothetical cases in skill building training programs? Each of us have our own goals that we want to achieve. So why are you not utilizing that opportunity to practice those techniques during a classroom for the issue that you have? If you're telling me that I've developed a certain set of tools, or I've learned a certain set of tools with which I'm able to help clients develop confidence, then in the course where you were learning those tools, shouldn't those tools have been applied with you so that you also develop the confidence? So this idea of role play and uh, made up therapy sessions that we practice during classes, I have my questions about it. I think each of us have enough challenges of our own. We have an opportunity to get those challenges addressed while learning how to help people address their challenges. You should take up that opportunity and you should develop your confidence along the way. And then whatever little is left is what will get taken care of when you have someone that you can cross check, cross verify what you have done with. Right? So that would be the best way of developing the confidence and of being able to consistently overcome that imposter syndrome that you have or that you may have.
That was a perfect answer, sir. So, as far as challenges are concerned, like the therapist face, so I just request you to let us know what are some of the biggest internal roadblocks that therapists face that rerode the confidence, like fear, judgment, performance, or over identification with the clients.
So you actually answered the question that you asked. What are the key challenges that clients are facing? So imposter syndrome, so what that practitioners faces, imposter syndrome would be one, fear of failure would be second one, um, lack of clarity about what technique to use when is a third, lack of skills like I shared earlier is fourth. Uh, those will broadly be the challenges that I'll talk about. Now, as psychology students, psychologists who are searching for courses to develop skills, there are additional problems that come up. You don't also know which institute to do your courses from, because a lot of institutes are promoting themselves um, using strategies which work because of lack of awareness amongst practitioners or psychology students. I mean, the number of institutes that I have seen promoting themselves as Government of India registered, giving you an impression as if that once you do a course with them, you will be able to legally practice. Have a conversation with them, ask them, what do you mean by Government of India registered? And the answers you will get is, we are registered with Startup India, we are registered with MSME, we are registered as an NGO. None of this actually has any legal credential as far as you being able to practice as a psychologist. Any company in India needs to register with the Companies Act. That doesn't make them a legal organization to teach therapy. Any small and medium scale industries registered with MSME, because we as an organization get benefits by registering with MSME. There are a lot of discounts that we receive on trademark registrations and so on. Okay. Again, that has nothing to do with what you get by my MSME registration. My MSME registration or Raja's MSME registration doesn't really make you eligible to practice as therapist or psychologist, right? ISO registrations, affiliations with institutes X, Y, Z, all of those are private bodies. So when you're enrolling for a program, check what kind of a program are you enrolling for. Don't get swayed by these things. And Ranjit, to answer your question, this is one of the biggest problems the psychologists and psychology students face. Inability to recognize which is the right training program to attend, right? And finally, because someone is there's a celebrity who's endorsing an institute, please check what is the celebrity's role in the field of psychology. I've seen cricketers endorsing training institutes for psychology. What does a cricketer have to do with psychological skills? Is that cricketer a psychologist? Have they been trained in that field? Have they been trained by the same institute? But then people end up enrolling for those courses because person XYZ is recommending. So check recommendations by fellow psychologists and not by celebrities who may have nothing to do with the field itself.
Very rightly said.
Ranji,
So,
just before we go ahead,
yeah.
people, all of you are on the Zoom meeting. If you have any follow-up questions, please put it in the chat box. I would like to take them up because confidence is such a personal matter that it's easier for me to understand exactly what challenges you're facing from the point of view of confidence and address that rather than address it generically. So while we are talking about it in a generic sense, I would also like to help you address whatever your individual issues may be when it comes to confidence. Yes, Ranjit, please.
So, have you ever faced a moment where you doubted your own ability to help a client? Like, can you share how you handled it, or like what have you learned from that experience?
So, doubted my ability to work with clients when I started. Obviously, there were multiple instances where there were questions, especially because we did not have the kind of eclectic approach that we have today, where I would try to apply the same set of techniques that I have learned in the training programs that I had gone through, right? For example, one of the first training programs I had done was on hypnosis. And in hypnosis, most hypnotherapy institutes, they don't cover developing interviewing skills effectively. The idea is you sit, you talk to the client, you collect information, then induce them in a hypnotic state, right? So I would initially struggle a lot with collecting correct information from the client. But collecting information is not a problem. You can ask the client to talk, and the client can really talk a lot, right? You can build rapport, and the client can then start sharing everything that's happening in their life. But most of the times when clients share, they may end up sharing a lot of information which may not really be relevant to what needs to be done, and then it ends up confusing you and the client even more. So how to collect that information in a structured manner was one of the initial challenges that I struggled with. Then also which technique to apply where, though with hypnosis, to be fair, I had learned a lot of techniques, but I did not have that kind of a framework which will help me understand which technique needs to be applied where. It was almost like I was going, it was almost like I was playing a guess game. That "Acha, with this client, this is the first technique that comes to my mind, so let's apply this. Without really realizing whether this was the right technique or not. Right? So the initial couple of months, years were challenging. I think that's true for almost all people who complete their masters. Eventually, when I started integrating processes together, is when I had greater clarity. Um, Now, with the kind of frameworks and everything that we have, do I at times doubt my ability to help clients? Probably yes. There are times when clients come in and they have challenges which you have not worked with, but I don't doubt the ability of the framework that we have to help clients address their challenges. And that's an important distinction to make. See, remember when I am working with clients, I don't have to provide solutions to the clients, right? So if a client were to ask me, Nitin, what do I do? I may doubt my ability to suggest to the client what's the right thing to do because I don't know everything about the client right now, right? But I don't doubt the ability of processes we have because I know that if the client doesn't have the complete information right now, we have the processes to help the client get that information, to evaluate that information, and then come to the right decision about what needs to be done next. Once the client makes that decision, if the client is not able to implement the decision, then we also have the tools to be able to help the client implement those decisions. So, to answer your question again, are there times that I would still doubt my ability to help the client? Once in a while, probably yes. Uh, does that really hinder my progress with clients? The answer is no, because the confidence in the approach that we follow, the models that we follow, and the confidence in the client's ability to find their own solutions. If you provide them with the right safe space, right, helps me address whatever those lingering doubts may be from time to time.
Thank you so much for that answer. So it's just like a relief. Like, yes, even you have some or the other time, that doubt situation. So there are two
No,
couple of questions. Yeah.
it's also because, see, consider when you work with clients, in the first session, the client will ask you how many sessions would I need, right? You are able to give the client an estimate of the number of sessions, but that estimate is not like cast in stone, right? That if I say 8 sessions, then it will exactly be done in 8 sessions. So sometimes as you're approaching the sessions, you're realizing that the speed at which you expected the client to see the results is not as fast as you would have liked it to be. So now you're not sure whether the number of sessions will be 8 or we may go up to 10 or we may go up to 12, right? So to that extent, the doubt that did I miscalculate the number of sessions the client would require, okay, is both a doubt and it's also backed in the fact that the client is taking longer than what you expected, right? But what I'm also clarifying is, in spite of that, I know that the client is seeing results, even if the results are slower, which are important enough for the client to recognize that therapy is helping me. And so even if it requires 8 ki jagah 10 sessions, right? The client actually continues. And that's what gives me a lot of confidence when you are working with clients.
So actually, there are a couple of questions in the chat box, if we can take it up. So the very first question is from, that's Anukya. Sorry if I mispronounced the name. So the question is, good morning, sir. If we are college students, and what all courses should we take before becoming a psychotherapist?
Okay. So it depends on which uh, level you are at. You are at a bachelor's level or the master's level. If you're at a bachelor's level, then probably join certain really basic courses on questioning skills, listening skills, developing rapport, because these are skills that will be useful for you irrespective whether you decide to continue with psychology and masters or not. No matter what field you go in, these three skills, to be able to listen effectively, to be able to ask questions effectively, and to be able to build rapport, will be useful for you in all walks of your life. If you're a master's student, then you should actually start looking at advanced interventions which will actually help people address specific challenges. Now, if you will ask me, I would obviously suggest that do the cognitive economic psychotherapy program. I don't think there's a program which is more comprehensive than what we offer. Okay. Uh, and it also gives you like a lot of supervision and a lot of uh, post workshop support that is necessary and interesting and important. But in case you feel that that's too much of a commitment and we want to get started with something softer, something smaller, uh, then programs like CBT or the one that we offer called anxiety counseling that very soon some of our students will start offering now, you should opt for that. The reason I like the anxiety counseling course is because it gives you the basics of working with clients. It gives you a structured approach, and yet it doesn't overwhelm you with a lot of concept and a lot of information. So, if you're getting started and you don't want to invest time and effort and money in like a comprehensive course like CHP, then anxiety counseling will be a good starting point. We have Ritu here, we have a couple of other people who will soon start conducting those programs as a part of iChas or Visit MHP as we go ahead. Uh, I hope that answers your question. But yeah, that will be my recommendation to begin with.
Okay. So the next question is by Nirmala. Sir, I believe each country has their own laws and regulations, but can we, as a therapist, practice outside India?
Okay. Depends on the country that you are in. There are two ways of looking at it, three ways of looking at it. What do you call yourself? If you're calling yourself a psychologist, every country in the world has their own regulations for who can call themselves a psychologist, who can practice as a psychologist, right? So to that extent, you will have to refer to the laws of those countries. Having said that, generally, if you have done masters in psychology in India, then in most other countries you should be able to practice legally. They may have a bridge over course or they may have a particular examination that you may need to clear, but masters in psychology more or less is considered equivalent in most parts of the world. You may have to check for individual countries and what their laws are, right? um, Second is, some people do not want to practice as psychologists, they want to practice as life coaches. In most countries, life coaching is non regulated, so you are safe to go over there. And the same is true with the third title, which is healers. A lot of people also prefer to call themselves healers. So if you're looking at practicing as healers, again, as far as I know, healing, none of the healing modalities are regulated in any part of the world, or at least not in most parts of the world. Uh, So those are the options. But as a psychologist, yes, there will be regulations and you should explore those regulations. If you ask me, should we practice as a coach, a psychologist, or a healer? Uh, I would suggest psychologist because the credibility is far higher. But then it really depends upon what your circumstances are and in which part of the world do you want to go and practice.
Well, that answers your question. And let's move to the next question. Next question is by Madhura. So, can you please throw some light on how can one navigate the MHP field for someone who is not a psychology graduate, and how can one build confidence as a fresher coming from a different field?
Okay. Uh, so one, how do you go in this field of mental health practitioner if you're not from a psychology background in your bachelor's? There are a lot of universities now which are offering direct master's program in psychology, right? And these programs are available, if I'm not wrong, both in full-time courses and distance education. So you can explore those courses, and that should be good to go. What you have to be careful about when you're exploring courses is don't look for 1 year diploma, 2 years diploma. Don't look for private courses, private certifications. Look for courses, master's program run by universities recognized by UGC. Right, so that's important. That your course has to be recognized under UGC. If your course is being recognized under UGC, it's a 2 years master's or equivalent, then you're good to go. But there are a lot of these PGDM courses which are not affiliated to any universities, which a lot of private organizations run. Be careful about them. None of them give you the legal credibility to practice as psychologists. Many of those institutes will claim they do. Ask them, is this course UGC recognized? If it's not, then it's not equivalent to your masters, right? I'm not saying that those courses are bad, huh? By the way, those courses may still help you develop skills. I'm simply sticking to legality, that they don't give you the legal license to practice as a psychologist unless you've completed your master's in psychology from a UGC recognized university. Okay? And how do you develop the confidence? So, like I said earlier, irrespective of whichever university you do your master's from, sadly, we are not living in an ideal world, which means that is not really preparing you to work with clients when you actually start working with clients. So, those skills will come from alternative skill building programs that you do. If it's a good skill building program, while they are helping you develop skills to work with clients, which will mean that you're also developing skills to help clients develop confidence, the course should also work towards helping you develop confidence in your abilities, right? If they are not, then I would really recommend that look for an alternate course. But your skill building both, uh, sorry, your skill building and your confidence building both is ideally the responsibility of the training institute with which you're developing, doing the skill building programs.
Nehal wants to know the courses that I just provide.
So currently, ICHAS provides the cognitive product coaching and cognitive product psychotherapy diploma. Uh, for psychologists, it's the cognitive product psychotherapy diploma, which is of relevance. It is a 4 level program, and it is an eclectic approach. It's an integrative approach where you learn to use a combination of cognitive, behavioral, humanistic, and psychodynamic approaches with advanced techniques from NLP, Gestalt, um, from metaphors, from inner child work, and we use hypnosis as a way to connect all of these things together. So, from level one itself, you learn to work with clients. While it's a 4 level program, level one by itself is complete, which means once you complete level one, we expect you to go out and work with clients. See the kind of work that you're doing, the kind of results you're getting before you come back for level two, right?
Okay.
And that's how each level proceeds.
So Shimala wants to know.
Ranjit,
Yeah.
एक second. And like I said, we are going to launch a couple of short courses again. So we were earlier conducting courses on sleep counseling, anxiety counseling, which we had temporarily paused because those courses will now be conducted by people who are a part of the ICHAS mentorship group. So we are looking at relaunching them probably in the next couple of months.
So can I continue?
Please.
Thank you so much. Shimala wants to know that do we need international certification for providing graphology services? I have done online courses for graphology and they have provided certificate for certified graphologist and a graphologist, but I am not confident whether to start graphology service.
So graphotherapy, graphology by itself has no regulatory body worldwide as far as I'm aware of. Which means even if you have not done any course in graphology, you can start practicing as graphologist, to be fair. Now, why do you get these certifications? The certifications are not really about legality. It's more about the fact that you have done a course with a particular institute and people can go back and verify that you've done a course with that institute. That gives confidence in the minds of people that already have been trained well. So, to answer your question, can you start your service as graphotherapist, graphologist? Since it's a non regulated field, the answer is yes, you can.
And Nehal is little confused. She is in MA Psychology first year and she's asking what's the right time to join these courses at iChas.
So, Neil, I would suggest start with level one and level two in your first year of masters. The reason is in second year when you do your internship, you will actually have certain skills which will help you understand how during the internship period when you observe other people taking sessions, what they are doing, what you would have done differently. So it gives you some base work to be able to understand the kind of internships you're going through, right? Um, and then go into level 3 and level 4 after you've completed your masters fully. But I would suggest at least begin with level 1 in first year. It gives you a lot of foundational skills and it also gives you enough tools to be able to actually do sessions during your internships.
Thank you so much, all the participants, for all the lovely questions. And I hope all of you have got the answers that you were looking out for. So let's
Ranjit,
go
एक
back.
second. There was one more question. I had asked, what is the third one? Listening skills, questioning skills, and Hammer rapport building skills.
Yeah, that was actually answered by Madhura.
अच्छा तुम आंसर बता all right
Yeah.
चलो
That's fine. So let's begin our question answers to get once again. So I would like to know, how do you handle the pressure of waiting to fix client or deliver quick result, especially when client expect immediate solutions?
sorry ask again one more time.
Okay, how do you handle the pressure of wanting to fix clients delivery quick result, or especially when the client expecting the immediate solutions?
I don't actually see the client's expectations can be managed uh, with the first session that you conduct with the client. So I'll explain the kind of sessions we do, right? So the first session, the client comes, invariably all my first sessions are free. The reason for that is simple, that when a client comes to me, they don't know whether I can help them. I don't know what their issues are, whether what I know is sufficient to help them, or whether they need to go to a psychiatrist or some other practitioner or some other uh, doctor, as the case may be, which is one. Second, how do I expect the client to commit for a number of sessions without knowing how many sessions are required? So there is not enough information the client has to make the decision, which then means that if the client starts the sessions without those answers, then they have their own expectations in their mind which I have not clarified. And then there is a problem that I expected that problems will be fixed in one session. I was never told that it will take longer. I was never told what kind of sessions will be done, by when will I start seeing results. So all of those doubts and all of those pressures come in because the client does not have clarity before they begin sessions with you. In the first session that I conduct, I would help the client define their problem, define their outcome. The reason for that is because that gives me a base to check whether I am the right person to work with the client. Now, once the client has the problem and the solution or the desired outcome in their mind, then I would explain to them exactly what we do, how we work, given the problem in the outcome statement, what are the expected number of sessions they would require, from which session would they start seeing results. In each session, how much time would the session be? Um, at what duration does the client need to come for the sessions? How would we measure that the sessions are giving results or not? What will be the measurement criteria? How would the client on a weekly basis recognize, all right, last week's session worked for me, or it did not work for me, as the case may be? So, all of that information is actually provided to the client during the first session itself. Now, because the client has that information, and after that they've decided to come for a paid session, okay, all of those pressures about quick fix, faster results is not there because we were very clear from the day one. And the client has decided to continue with the sessions based on that clarity. So, my suggestion, is you have to be clear, you have to be transparent, you have to inform the client, and you need to know how would the client measure the criteria for success. Well, one of the challenges I have seen therapists having is when clients ask them, how would we know that we are improving? I've heard therapists saying that, the kind of work that we do is so subtle. You will have these intrinsic qualitative shift in your life, but we don't work with material things necessarily. So there may not be observable, tangible changes in your life. Consider yourself in the position of a client. Would you go to a therapist like this? A client is coming to you because they have a tangible problem in their lives that they want to resolve. How would they know the therapy is working? Whatever is the tangible problem they have will resolve tangibly, right? And it should be measurable for the client to see. So if you have all of this in place, then you will not be pressurized by all the other things that Ranjit had just asked me, um, because you have given the client the clarity. Last, I understand that there are at times pressures, not because of any other thing, but because what others in the market are claiming. There are people who will say in one session we'll treat depression. Okay? There are people who will say in 20 minutes it will help you transform your lives. So then clients will come to you with that expectation that, what, someone told me that I will be able to help you resolve your trauma in 20 minutes. So my answer to them is that, all right, if you're confident they will be able to, you should begin with them. And if in 20 minutes they are not able to address your trauma, then probably it's a good idea to come back to me. Okay? So I am not going to compete with people who are making claims, and I'm not saying they can't fulfill the claims. Okay, I have not worked with them. Maybe they have some incredible tool or technique that they have learned because of which they are able to help people address trauma in 20 minutes. Right? If they can, then well, the client is actually better place to go and work with them than to work with me. But invariably they come back and then they will be like, हाँ हमको बोला था, थोड़ा अच्छा लगा लेकिन trauma तो फिर भी रहा. So then you work with them. So you don't get into this race of trying to compete with people that because they are claiming something, I need to claim something higher. You don't need to, right? Be transparent. Your transparency stands out because the clients will get swayed by other things at times. They will realize it's not giving them results, and then they will come back to you knowing that at least you were transparent, that you are genuine.
So let's focus more on building practical confidence. So my first question under that would be like confidence often come from competence. And how important is it for the therapist to have that structured framework like cognitive hypnotic psychotherapy? And how does it help in building confidence?
Okay. Remember when we began, I said that when I had attended some of these programs, I had a lot of tools in my toolkit, right? But I was just playing a guess game, which technique to use where. In some cases, it would give results. In some cases, it would not give results. And I had no idea why it was giving me results and why it was not giving me results. So it used to be very frustrating and very, you would feel very helpless at times. That, I don't know how do I help clients. I have the tools, but I don't know how to use those tools effectively. So that's where the structure comes into place. That if you have a very clearly defined guideline in terms of what are the steps that you're facing following with the clients. When I say steps, the steps don't necessarily mean that there's a script that you're reading for the client, right? But what will be the first step? To help clients define the problem. Second step, to define the outcome. Third, to help them explore the desired future in detail. Fifth, identify the triggers. So, like if you have these steps, then one, you know what is the objective of what you're trying to do with clients in a particular session. Your objective is very well defined. That step defines the objective. And then once you have that, in that specific steps, you can identify what are the probable challenges the client may face. So, for example, to help clients define their problems, what are the possible problems the client will have? One, the client has a tendency to talk a lot. They're giving you too much of information because of which it's becoming khichdi. Now, once I know this, I know I need to have an intervention which will help the client provide me with specific structured information. So I can use meta model questions over there, right? So that's a structure. When the client is going all over the place, bring the client back into a structure using meta model. let's say the client is not even able to begin to talk about their problems. They're like, I'm not sure what the problem is. So there is a problem, therefore they've come to you, but they are not able to understand and articulate the problem effectively. Now that I know this, that the client is literally not able to tell me their problem, I can convert it into a metaphor and a story, which the client can use as a reference point to explore their own problems and then begin to talk about their problems. So then I know if the client is not able to speak about their problems, I can use abstract metaphor, right? If the client is not aware of their triggers, then I know I can use a combination of hypnosis, suggestions to go back to the past events where they experience this emotion, plus mindfulness suggestions, so that they can become aware of what their triggers are. So at each stage, because the objective is defined, probable problems that the clients can face is defined, recommended techniques for each of those is defined. It becomes a lot more easier for you as a practitioner to know what you're doing with the client, and you don't get stuck and feel stuck at any place. Plus, most importantly, the structure, at least with CHP, is very flexible. So in the problems itself, we said, right, that if the client is not able to describe the problem clearly, use meta model. If they're not able to talk about the problem itself, use abstract metaphor. So there's enough flexibility within that structure to customize the approach to suit the requirements of the clients. And that gives you a lot of confidence, because you realize that no matter what the client throws at you, there is enough in your toolkit with a proper guideline to know what to use where. And that's how the confidence becomes easier. Plus, follow-ups are easy. For example, if you were to remember, I said that you need certain people to be able to go back and cross-check what you've done with. So if you were to come back to me after your session and ask me, Nitin, I worked with a client. I need to know whether what I did worked correctly or not. Once you have the structure in place, I can actually verify from that structure what steps have you followed, were the steps in sync with the structure or not. If you deviated from the structure, were there reasons why you deviated? So it becomes a lot more easier for me to also provide you with a guideline that, all right, next time when you're working with the client, is there a tweak that's required? Do you need to do something different? Or what you have done is very effective and you can continue doing that with other clients as well. So also follow up mentoring becomes a lot more easier when you have that structured approach which is flexible.
So, how can we balance the continuous learning with the trap of I'll feel confidence once I learn more? So, when is it enough to start and trust the process?
Okay. The moment you go through a course where you have developed certain skills, immediately start applying those skills. Okay. There is no limit to how much you can learn. 13 years back when we started iChas, at that time we had probably the most comprehensive course for therapists designed in India or even world. Today also we have the most comprehensive course, but the course has evolved tremendously from where it was 13 years back, right? So even us, we keep learning, we keep growing, we keep incorporating new processes into the mix. Right? So there is no end to learning. You can always earn, you can always evolve, and in the world that we are in, with AI coming in, the speed at which you can research, the speed at which you can get certain feedbacks is so fast that this speed will only become faster in terms of how much you need to learn. So having to learn more is not a good enough reason to not apply what you've already learned. If you've done a skill building program where you have learned how to help clients create some changes in their life, stick to those changes, but start working with clients immediately. If the question is that I don't have the confidence, then please visit a therapist who will help you develop the confidence to work with your clients. As a therapist, as a psychologist, you should never shy away from visiting other psychologists. Okay? If clients need help and they come to you, then why shouldn't you go to someone else if you need help? So those are the two things that I would suggest to begin.
Wonderful. So, that's very rightly said. When we are in need of help, we should go to a therapist as well, being a therapist. So, my next.
That's actually one of the best things that I've liked about the fellowship that we offer, right? That all fellowship students have their own mentors that they work with on a weekly basis. This was the insight behind that. That as therapists, as psychologists, once you have developed your skills, some amount of reluctance, some amount of internal resistance, some amount of anxiety about setting up a practice, about reaching out to clients is obvious because it's something new that you're doing. So having a mentor to weekly work with you to help you address those challenges can come very, very handy. So for those of you who are psychology students or have just completed your masters recently, and if you're enrolling for any of our courses, my suggestion will be opt for the free fellowship as well. That gives you that additional support of a personal therapist working with you on a weekly basis.
So, again, the next question is very much relevant to this as well. So, the supervision and the peer support are often recommended. How do they practically help in building and sustaining the confidence?
I just gave that answer earlier, Ranjit, where I mentioned that even if you've done the best course in the world and you have all the skills that you have in the world, when you start working with clients initially, some amount of doubt about whether this was the right technique or not. Could have I done something different? Is bound to be there because you're doing something new. It's like anything new that you do, there's an initial reluctance that I don't know if this was the best way of doing it. So if you have a mentor, if you have someone that you can go back to, ask those questions from, it gives you that immense confidence that all right, I'm on the right track, or even if I was not, I know what the right track is for the next client.
Sir, can you please give us the three simple yet powerful practices that therapists can use to boost confidence right before or during the session?
Okay. Um, One, create a Vendan statement for yourself. If you don't know what Vendan statement is, go to IHR's website. In the blog session, just search when then or if then. You'll have a complete article explaining that to you. Or now you can also download the Meet Goals app, and on the Meet Goals app, there's a complete framework available where you can create your own when then statements. Second, create an anchor for yourself, an anchor for confidence. Use that anchor every time you're about to start a therapy session. So the anchor is literally like conditioning yourself to get into the right emotional state, right? And confidence is generally the best state to be in when you're working with clients. Again, if you don't know how to create that anchor, um, you can actually explore anchoring processes online. There would be some or the other video available that you can use. Or again, on Meet Goals app, there are certain guided meditations or guided hypnotic processes where we have used the anchoring process for confidence. You can go through it. Both those meditations and Vendan statements are completely free for everyone right now. So you can download the app. It's available on Play Store. It's also available on Apple Store, and you can go through those through two processes. So those are the first two suggestions. Third, enroll for a program which actually helps you develop the skills.
So one of the question in chat box, Jen, just because of the voice, I think issue, Jen missed out. Which were the courses that you were talking about? That's from iChas.
Okay. So the primary course is cognitive hypnotic psychotherapy. That course has 4 levels. I would suggest start with level one. The level one would give you enough understanding of what we are working with. It also gives you enough skills to start working with clients. And once you've done level one, then you can decide to enroll for level two to level four altogether. You can also decide to enroll for level one to level four altogether, but it's just that once you've done level one, you are more confident about what you're getting into. Uh, Tomorrow onwards, our prices will increase. So if you are looking for joining ICHA's courses, it may be a good idea to explore the courses today, enroll before the end of the day today, at least for level one, or at max by tomorrow 2 o'clock, so that you can avail the current pricing that is there.
Haima
Then
wants, yeah. So sorry,
एक
sir.
second. And sure. And then, like I said, we are also going to relaunch the anxiety counseling course soon. That is something that you can enroll for, but it will take probably a couple of months to get that rolling completely. It's like a very
So
basic version of what we cover in level one.
can I continue, sir? Thank you. So Haima wants to know about the fellowship courses.
So, Haima, we have a 1 year fellowship program at ICHAS for those of you who have completed level one and level two. you can enroll for the fellowship program. In the fellowship, you get there's a mentor who's assigned to you apart from me. So you will have one session with me weekly, which will be in a group where all mentorship students are there. You're also assigned a mentor to you who works with you on a weekly basis individually to help you do the tasks that you need to do to set up your own prior practice effectively. Now, that includes working with um, certain tangible steps like learning to create content, learning to conduct webinars, and all of that, learning to create your own websites or getting your websites created, all of that. And it also includes working with your confidence, working with other issues that you may have, which are stopping you from taking the next step. So that is one part of the story. Second, during the fellowship, we also help you get involved with multiple activities that we do under ICHA Support Foundation. So, any charitable work that we are doing, be it one-to-one sessions, be it group sessions, that is done through the people who are a part of our fellowship group. Even in corporates, now that we are expanding through Meet Goals, those who are a part of the fellowship program would be one of the first people who will get opportunity to work with the corporates through Meet Goals. Um, so there are a lot of these opportunities that are available. Think of fellowship as the course helps you develop skills to work with clients on a one-to-one basis. All the additional skills that you need to develop to be able to generate clients, to be able to work with clients in groups is taken care of during the fellowship session. Like I said, you will get a mentor who will work with you by the fourth month. Once you feel that you have been able to set up what you wanted to do correctly, while you continue working with your mentor, there is a mentee that will be assigned to you who you will work with. So, like someone else helped you, you will then guide and help someone else. And weekly, you will all have a meeting with me, which is separate from the case discussion sessions that we have otherwise.
So is fellowship program eligible
Uh,
for level 1 level students?
you can enroll after level 1, but my suggestion is, matlab, with level 2, because we know the kind of work that we do with corporates and so on. So if we need to send you to corporates, I would prefer that you have attended at least level 2. But if the idea is I want to start with fellowship after level 1, not because of generating clients and so on, but for other reasons like the support that I require and so on, then yes, you can join after level 1. Also, fellowship is free. We don't charge anything for it right now. But there's a time commitment. On a weekly basis, you will have to commit around 8 to 10 hours for the fellowship.
So Vijay wants to know, he wants to pursue career counseling. Is there any program in ICHAS that offers the same?
So, Vijay, we don't offer any career counseling certifications directly. We have a partner institute called Career Naksha. They offer career counseling courses. If you want, just reach out to one of the team members and they will share the contact number of Huma, who handles the career counseling enrollments for Career Naksha. We can recommend them. Some of our students have got trained by them and their feedbacks have been very good.
So with that, let's continue. Again, one of the reminder, a quick reminder for each and every participant, kindly do fill the form that is there in the chat box so that you get your e-certification. Continue. How do we stay confident when we feel stuck in a session and when the client isn't opening up or the therapy seems to be going nowhere?
Can you ask the question again? I think I lost your voice in between.
Oh, so sorry for that. So the question is, how do we stay confident when we feel stuck in a session and when the client isn't opening up or the therapy seems to be going nowhere?
So, generally speaking, we use a combination of these two processes, what I explained earlier. There is an abstract metaphor and there is meta model. Both of them videos are available on the iChaz YouTube channel for free. You can actually go and explore them. Abstract metaphor, the complete process is given. You can just look at the video and replicate the process of the client. It's a simple process to replicate. If you are looking at meta model, there's a lot of information available on the internet on meta model, but there's also a short, I think, 3-hour course available in a pre-recorded format on the iChaz website for interviewing skills, in which we have covered meta model extensively. Meta model is a very good model to address the issue that you have specifically asked me for right now.
So to continue with the second question, so what mindset shift can help When we feel overwhelmed by complex cases or situations, we feel unprepared for the same.
Okay, so like again, I said earlier, if you're feeling unprepared, first check. Is it because you actually lack the skills or that you're feeling unprepared in spite of the fact that you have the skills? If you lack the skills, please enroll for courses that help you develop the skills, because when you work with clients, your responsibility is very high. If you're not well skilled, you literally run the risk of ruining a client's life. So, therefore, it's important that you invest time, effort, money in your own skill development. But if the skill is there, and the problem is that I don't have the confidence, or when I work with clients, I have a tendency to take the client's problem back with me to my house, and it starts affecting my emotional health, and because of which I'm not able to work with clients subsequently. Then visit a therapist. Work with a therapist who can help you address these issues.
Wonderful. So, continuing with this, so visibility is often a struggle for the therapist. So, how can we build confidence in sharing our work, marketing our services, and showing up as professional in the mental health space?
Yeah, in the world that you're living in today, this is not too difficult. Matlab, there was a time when you would require probably a day to write one article. Today, if you're smart, if you know your subject well and you know how to speak to AI, it can probably generate content for you in 15 minutes. Obviously, you need to be smart. You need to know what to ask AI. You need to tell AI what kind of content you want to create, and you need to be able to fine tune it. So, AI is not a replacement for your knowledge and your skills, but it can save you a lot of time in the initial draft, which is where a lot of time would go away, right? As far as recording is concerned, putting yourself out is concerned, there are tools, there are softwares available where you can have teleprompters on your camera, and you can actually read the script that you have created and publish it. So, for this, I would say it's more about two things: knowledge about available tools, techniques in the market, tools, softwares available in the market, and second is confidence. Confidence takes you back to either anchoring, within statement, or working with a therapist. Tools, I can give you a list of them if you want. Matlab, I can tell you what all we use, right? So we use BigView, which is a video recorder and teleprompter. We would use ChatGPT, which I'm sure all of you are already using. Um, we use Canva, which most of you should be using by now, if I'm not wrong. Um, yeah, broadly for content generation, these are the three tools that we use, and we use Gamma nowadays. But these are the four tools that we use, and if you learn to work with these four tools, you more or less have everything that you need for your initial bit of content generation.
Thank you so much for that wonderful tools so that we can, start working on it. So the thing is, if we imagine the confident therapist in action, basically, so what are the qualities, behaviors, and the mindset would they embody in a session?
So, a confident psychologist or a confident therapist would, one, recognize that they don't have to fall in the trap of trying to give advices to clients. That's the first one. Their job is not to give advice to the client. Second, they will have the confidence in the client's ability to find answers to their own problems, and in their ability to create the right environment where the client can find those answers. And third, a confident therapist realizes that knowing an answer and applying the answer are two different things. That knowing the answer is probably the start of the therapy process. The actual therapy process is to help the client be able to apply those learnings, those understandings in their life. So if a client comes and tells you that, in order to manage my weight, I need to start going to the gym every morning. That's not the end of your therapy. That's actually the start. Your question is, are you able to go to the gym? And the client says no, then it's not a resistant client. It's a client who is not able to do it. It's your job to help the client develop the right mindset, develop the right skills, develop the right motivation so that they're able to get up and go to the gym. If the client could do it on their own, then why would they come to you? So a confident client would never really call a willing client a resistant client. Any client who comes to you out of their free will to you, they are not resistant client. If you're finding resistance in them, it's exactly that resistance that they're struggling with that you need to help them address. And if you're not able to do that, then it's a question of your skills, which means you need to then develop more skills. And a confident therapist recognizes that I can always develop more skills. That's okay.
And finally, sir, what's that one mantra or the guiding principle you would like every therapist here to carry with them so that they can continue with their journey?
Don't get too affected by what people around you are doing in the field of therapy, what they are claiming. Um, know what you have learned, understand the kind of clients you have the skills to work with, and start working with them. There are people who will try to pull you down, saying that this technique is not correct, this tool is not correct, you don't know enough, you know too much. Both of them can be a problem, right? People will always find something to say. As long as you are sure and the results that you're getting with the client is a proof that what you're sure is right, continue working and walking on your path. At any place where you realize that you're lacking somewhere, then just develop the skills. Nothing more than that. But don't fret too much over how much I know, how much I don't know. Develop the skills, continue working. Along the way, you will realize how much you know.
Thank you so much, sir, for that answer. And that's it from my side, asking all the important or relevant questions on confidence. And so I'm really very thankful to you for this inspiring session building on confidence. And it is truly motivating and packed with valuable insights. All the participants, if at all anyone have any follow-up questions or any doubts related to anything, you can put up in chat box and we can take it up. Thank you so much, sir, for this.
Thank you everyone for joining in for celebrating the ICHA's 13th anniversary with us. It's been uh, it's been a pleasure, it's been an honor to be a part of this institute, to be a part of what we have been able to do in the last 13 years. And we are just getting started. So there's a lot more to come. Uh, Shamila, the four tools that I told you about was Big View, ChatGPT, Canva, Gamma. These are the four ones that I would recommend. All right. Thank you very much. I hope this session was insightful for all of you, and we have a few more sessions planned after this. I hope you are able to enjoy and learn something interesting from all of those sessions. Bye bye. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, goodbye. So, a very quick reminder to all the participants over here, kindly don't forget to fill the attendance form so that you can get your e-certifications. Yeah, the link is in the chat box. And you will also get some 500 extra points in our special contest. So there are more chances for you to win some fantastic prizes from our side.
500 extra points provided you have attended all the events.
Attended all the sessions, yes.